back again. I seem to be getting quite regular at doing these updates at the minute, which is good for you guys out there. You'll remember last time I showed you one or two bits, and I was doing talking about doing JB welding, the epoxy metal glue, as it were, for the horn guides. I have prepped all the horn guides now, and they've all been counterbored. The last one that I had in the milling machine to do the last bit of counterboring actually snapped the pilot off my counterbore I bought. 25 quid's worth of counterbore I'll add, because I didn't go over the hole dead in the center of it, and I went a bit too fast as I started to cut, and it's started to waggle and it snapped that pilot clean off. Lessons learnt. Had to order a new one, which came through, did the last job, and now that counterbore won't be used now until maybe the next time I do a class 2 or another standard engine, and I'll make do the horn guides like this. So I'm going to go through with it now, and I'll excuse the editing because it's something I filmed the other day. I'm going to go through it now with you on how I mix it up, how I use it and everything like that, and I go through the process then from letting it go off and smoothing it over on my Dremel, and yeah, that's where we'll get up to on this bit. One thing I'll just quickly show you before I go off onto the other part of filming that I've done. It's not soldered up yet, it's literally just pressed together, but that stretcher is looking kind of neat. Quite happy with that. That other stretcher that I showed you, the one that I wire tied together for the frames, if you follow the Facebook page you'd have seen it, and if you haven't, there it is, all done, soldered up, finished, and that's ready to go into the loco frames when they arrive, which however I have seen a sneaky picture of from Model Engineers Laser. Ed was kind enough to send me a sneak picture of them on his bench that are fresh from the machine, and I've got to say they look absolutely awesome. And he said himself they've come out very well, he's pleased with them, and if he's pleased, I'm pleased, because that means that I've got complete faith in the guys over at Model Engineers Laser, and I've certainly got a lot of trust with Ed when it comes to cutting parts, which kind of leads me on to a comment that came out, and some of you may have seen it. It happened on one of my pictures I showed of the loco frames in the drawing phase, and the comment was, you need to mirror those for laser cutting because you don't want your loco to be a banana if the plate that they're being cut from has got a curve in it. And I got that. That is fine, and it was a fair comment. However, I don't need to mirror the drawings because of who I'm sending them to. I'm not sending them to some tin pot man down the road that I say that's what I want cutting and he's going to cut it. I'm sending it off to Model Engineers Laser, who, that's what they do for a living. They cut parts for locos and things like that. Well, they cut parts for lots of things, but I know for a fact that I could scribble that onto a fag packet and Ed would do it right and he'd get it absolutely perfect. So he had a fair comment on what he said, but it was an irrelevant, because every time I said I don't need to mirror them because Ed knows what he's doing, he then counteracted it, well you need to, because if you don't, your engine will be like a banana. I didn't mirror the tender frames when I sent them off, and they are dead straight, and if there is a curve in them, they're opposite curves, so everything has started to pull itself into square. I didn't need to worry then, and I won't need to worry about these. So there you go. That's blowing up the some smoke up at Model Engineers Laser on that one, because they know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. That's what they do, and that's why you send your files to them and you get your parts that you want. So anyway, enough of me waffling. Let's crack on and get these JB welded up, and you can see what's what. So you can see what I'm doing. You can see just here the blob of black just there. Just going to tighten that camera up. Now I'm just going to put the hardener next to it, and I'm going to put equal amounts, or as best I can, equal amounts. Just going to go next to it. As I say, it's a two-part epoxy. Well, I've got a little coffee stirrer. I'm just going to mix these two together on the back of this bit of card. Now, probably should have something better to mix it on, but I find a bit of card that I can discard afterwards is better than ruining, because this stuff gets quite sticky, and it's hard to scrape off a decent surface unless I had a piece of glass. If I had a piece of glass, I could get it off with a knife before it hardens off. So mix it all up so it gets the same consistency and the same colour, so it's all that grey colour there, you can see. That's it. So we'll start off with this one first. So you can see there I've got two counterboard holes, and all I'm going to do is put a splodge in there. Like so. Get another little dollop on the end of me coffee stirrer. Splodge in there. Get two of these, one each side. I'm just going to press it home. And what it's done, because I've already drilled the hole in the bottom all the way through, any excess will come through. As you can see, it's come through on my finger. So the excess has squirted out through the hole, which I'm going to send a drill down that eventually anyway, because I'm going to send the drill back through that hole, back through that hole that I've just cleaned off, and now I've got that on my fingers, which I don't want, so I need to find a cloth pretty quick. I'm going to clean out that hole enough so that the drill will disappear up it. But what I might do is I might let that go off a little bit first and then put an impression on it, like a centre, just so that it can pick something up. In fact, I've got an old screw. What I'm doing, just taking out the excess that's come right the way through there, like that. Wipe that off. That was now giving me somewhere for the drill to go. And that's that bit done for now. I'm not going to fill in the gaps or anything just yet, because what I want to do is get all these to the same stage with the epoxy that I've mixed up on there. So if you've never seen JB welding or JB Weld epoxy used before, this is it in a nutshell. As I said in the previous video, it says you can drill it and tap it and everything and file it and shape it and do whatever you need to do with it for what you need. Got the right amount on that time. It's not squirted through the hole, which is good. It's easy to go a bit overzealous and put too much in like that, and it gives it a squirt straight out the bottom there, which I then need to just pick that out like that, because I want to leave those You can see that those two holes, I need to leave them clear enough so I can get a drill down. That's another one done. I need to put these to one side. I've always got a messy bench. I will crack on with another one. I know what you're thinking, there might not be enough in there to hold that part in place, but as I said in that previous video, there's going to be a countersunk screw that comes through from the working face of the horn guide, and as it's not going to be drilled at clearance, what it'll do is it'll hold this little peg that I'm pushing in, it'll hold it in place like you're bolting two pieces of metal together. It'll hold it exactly where I want it to be. And that one's squirted through the other side. Give it a wipe off. Tickle it with a screw. That's it. Just enough. On to the next one. Now I think when we had the heavy rain yesterday, I think I've sprung a leak in this workshop because there's little, you can see on the end of there, there's little splodges of where water has been. But I can't see any physical holes in the roof anywhere, so unless it's something I've sprayed accidentally, there's no signs of any water in here. There's no damp spot on the bench or anything. But the mysteries of rust again. I need to put a bit more in that one. So there we are, you're getting the idea. What I'm going to do, just pull the camera back up again, up to me. There we are. Hello everyone. So you get the idea of what I'm doing there with the JB Weld. And what I'll do is I'll come back to this when those have gone off, and I'll come back to filling up the rest. And I'll show you what I do just to finish these off. And that bit will be... I'll probably fill up the space and everything, but what I'll do is I'll go at it with a Dremel. Just show you a little bit of shaping and that going on, as you do. So, excuse my concentration face while I'm doing this bit. Don't want to make a big ash of it. It's literally just enough to hold that in place for me then to do the filler around the outside of it, or the JB Weld around the outside of it, to give it the shape, and it makes the casting look all as one. That's all I'm doing. So there we are, we'll see you in the next bit on the next job on these. Ta-da for now. Okay, I've jumped to a bit ahead of myself, and I've already done them. I've already glued them all up. Now you can see there it looks quite rough at the minute because it's still tacky, but I've filled up the gap surrounding those 1/4 diameter plugs I put in, and it'll all become clear why I've done that. So I'm going to let all this go off. What I've tried to do is get it as smooth as I could on all of them, and JB Weld, being JB Weld, is quite a sticky material, so what I tend to do, and I don't know if anyone else does it when they've used JB Weld before, I'm not sure, I dip the coffee stirrer into a little bit of water, and kind of it changes the consistency a little bit. It's still sticky, but it goes to a bit more workable, like clay, and it just allows me to give it that shape, the rough shape, because as I say, the next bit when all those have gone dry is going to be attack them with a Dremel to give them some shape, and then the last thing will be to do is to drill them through 6BA clearance, ready for the screws to go through. And that's them done in a nutshell. And then the next thing is the 12BA grease nipples I've done, all 12 of them. So yeah, that was a fun job, but they'll look perfect, and that's what I want what the end result to be. So see you on the next video with a bit more work on these. Okay, I hope you can see this next bit. I've set the tripod up so you can see what looks like an absolute mess of the JB Weld in there. As I say, when you put it in, it is a paste at the end of the day, so you just got to kind of shove it in where you need to on there. So I've got the microphone on for this part, and the reason for that is I'm going to start up my Dremel, and you can see there's a bit of a conical type bit I've put in, like a stone. It's quite coarse, so I don't need to touch this that much. Now, if the camera starts to wobble a bit, it's because of where the tripod's set up, and I might end up kicking it a few times as I'm going along. So I'm going to try and do my best as I can to show you what I'm going to do. But all I'm going to end up doing is just smoothing off around here with this stone, around there like that. I'm not going to worry too much about the top of there. I might just give it a quick shim with the quick zip across the top there, just to get any lumps off, and then round there. And then what I'll do is I'll finish it all over with a wire wheel and a bit of emery, just to kind of clean this. I don't want it too clean. I want it to still look like it's a casting at the end of the day. But that's what we're going to try and attempt now. So bear with me with the noise, because it is going to be really loud. My Dremel's got one speed now. It's that old, and that's full power. So there we go. So you can see that it changes colour where you're shaving it off. And it's just exposing that round a little bit, which is fine, as long as I don't lose this in here too much. Just keep blowing off the dust so we know where we're going. It's looking so it's just got a filled up corner now, which is what I want to go for. So same on here, just smoothing off the excess basically. Excuse the morons that's setting off fireworks. That'll be setting my dogs off fucking quite mental, pardon my French. And if I go and see who it is, I might go and knock their teeth in for doing it, because one, it's not bloody November the 5th, and two, there's no need. I don't care if your friend's been killed in an accident. It's a really stupid way to celebrate their life, but that seems to be the in thing with the youngsters these days. Yeah, so I've just smoothed that off now, got rid of the excess off it, and it allows me now to do the 2 drill holes, and then just kind of tickle it over with a file and a wire wheel and a bit of emery and that, just to tidy it all up. But that's it in a nutshell. There's a little bit there that I just need to get. That's it. So I don't go daft with them. I still leave quite a bit of material in it, but I've smoothed off all the rough bits all in here, and then around in this corner here, so it still filled it up how I want it to look on both sides, without anything. There's nothing to snag on it now. So where it needs to look filled up, it will look filled up. It kind of looks a bit odd at the minute because it's all different colours of grey, but once the grease nipple, little fake grease nipple, goes in here, 2 holes in there, and then these will have 6BAs come through from this side. This will be milled back yet, because you can see it's still the rough casting. This will be milled back yet, but I'm not going to do that until it's in riveted to the frames. I'm going to take that face and the opposing one in one go and take it out to width. But what it's going to do is this will be countersunk on this face, as I said. Bolts will go through, or set screws will go through, countersunk ones. Nut in the top, not in the top there, not there, not there, not there, and not there. Fake grease nipple in there, and it will look exactly how I want it to, as it should on the full size engine. That's the theory behind it. So I'll carry on with all the rest. And then I'll post a photo once they're all done with everything complete in it, so the grease nipple will be in it and everything, and you'll see the end result. But that's how I did the JB welding. I hope you found that interesting, and it might be some use to you for yourself. You know, if you want to add details in, you're not quite sure, if it's not a load bearing part, which this won't be, you can essentially glue the metal in that you need, and create what you want to do. So there we are.